Hey there. Welcome everyone. Let's see, it's 12:01. Give you a couple of seconds for people to hop on. So today's training is a good one. It's all about attitude. So I want to talk a lot about attitude. So welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me today here at Earn More and Live More. I am your host, Lou Perica. For those who may be joining us and are not familiar with who I am a mindset success mentor. And what I do is I help real estate professionals become the best version of themselves by building up their self esteem and their self image so they can live an empowered life. I was also a realtor for 16 years, so I understand, what you go through day to day. So, my intention for these trainings is to raise your level of self awareness. So, there is a greatness within all of us. And when we start to understand who we are, we let that greatness come out and express itself. The more you study you, the more you're going to believe what is possible for you. So each weekly training builds upon the last. And what I do is I take pieces from each lesson from my program, thinking into results, and I share it with you. Um, I am on StreamYard, and if anyone can just type in something so I know. I'm still learning this StreamYard and how to operate it. Let me see if I can see something on my phone. I know, let's see if my friend Tasha, and she's usually on here. Let me see. Hold on one second. Let's see if I'm on here. Anyway, okay. So, so let's get started. So, how do we develop a positive attitude for success? And I realized a better title for this training would be How to Develop a Bulletproof Attitude for Success. And I say bulletproof because we must have discipline. We must discipline ourselves to have a bulletproof attitude and not let outside circumstances and conditions get to us. We acknowledge circumstances and conditions because they're just feedback, and it's just showing us how we're thinking, feeling, and behaving. But we don't let them have power over us. What we start to do is really learn to embrace the feedback. This is telling you, depending on what your feedback is, depending on what the results is, oh, thank you. If you lose a client, thank you. This must mean better one is coming. Or perhaps I need to work on my presentation, or perhaps I need to work on, my communication skills, whatever it may be. So take feedback, embrace it, and learn from it. Okay. Discipline, most of us, I was guilty, don't like the word discipline and accountability. I never used to like those words, but I've learned to understand that discipline means freedom. I didn't like it, like I said, and I know a lot of people didn't like that word, but I've learned to embrace the word, and I've learned to love the word because I understand I free myself when I master myself. And it takes daily work. It takes work, to work on your attitude, to work on your thoughts. And most people do not or won't commit to that. So what happens is, they take life however it comes instead of mastering their own life and creating the reality they want. So attitude, it's the magic word. This is what Earl Nightingale said. Attitude is the magic word. But what is attitude? We hear about it all the time. We heard about it, when we were kids growing up as young adults, uh, from employees, for business owners, from coaches. We've always heard about this word attitude. And we know It's vital to live a happy, successful life, but was it ever really explained to us? We know it when we see it, but most of us cannot define it. I know I couldn't. So let me just explain really what attitude is. It's a composite of our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. Makes sense, right? So it's the combination of all three. And if you think about a cake, when you eat a cake, you say, oh, that's great cake. You don't say, oh, that's good flour. That's really good spice. It's the combination of all the ingredients that makes us say, that is a good cake. So here are some problems that can come up if we don't have a positive attitude, if we don't have control over the way we're thinking. So number one, and you'll probably identify with these. I know I did. So number one, we tend to react to circumstances and conditions. Do you look for the good in a situation or do you react to the bad? You see, most of us are programmed to see the negative side. Right? I've mentioned this before. Did you ever notice that there's no books or seminars on how to think negatively? Because we already know how to do that. We're so conditioned to think that way. It's a habit, a habit. And what is happening is we have patterns, negative patterns. We go over and over. It's like a well-worn path, right? When we start to have negative thoughts, what happens? How do we feel when we're having negative thoughts, right? We start to feel perhaps frustrated, maybe fearful, or disempowered. What's our behavior when we start to feel this way? Other people pick up on our energy. So if you're thinking negatively, feeling frustrated or disempowered or fearful, and someone's next to you, they're picking up that energy. Do you think they want to be around you? Most likely not, right? Number two, and I tell this to my clients, stick to the facts. So one of the problems that we have is we don't stick to the facts and we start adding in our own opinions and we start to speculate, which again, most of the time leans towards the negative side. And let's just say, you made a phone call to somebody and they didn't call you back that day or maybe the next day. Where does your mind start to go? Right? Oh, they don't want to hear from me. Maybe I'm bothering them, or what's going on? Why won't they come? Right? The fact is, they didn't call you back. That's all. But we tend to start to speculate. We start adding our opinions, right? We all did this. I did this my whole life. Now I start to understand I need to do an attitude check. Because what happens is one negative idea leads to another, and then it starts to snowball. Did you ever have an imaginary fight with someone in your own mind? I don't think I'm the only one, right? What happens, right, when you start to do that? What is your attitude at that moment? How do you feel? You feel crappy. And it was all this imaginary conversation or fight that you had in your own mind. Right? I mean, we all do it. Number three is thinking traps. This is when our thoughts wander all over the place, right? We go from one thought to another thought to another thought. Sometimes they're related and sometimes they're totally different. And this can typically happen when we're alone, when there's no distractions. Most of the times it could be when you're in the car, or especially when you go to bed and you're starting to drift off to sleep. And this is really an important time to really catch what you're thinking about. And many of us, and I speak from experience. So I know I would replay what happened that day. And did I think about the wins? No, I went to the crappy stuff that happened during the day, right? And I'd be thinking about it and thinking about it. I'd go to sleep. How do you think I wake up feeling? And when we do that, if this is a reoccurring thing, this is going to reflect in your overall attitude because it's like reliving the same day over and over. You start the day because you went to bed the night before thinking you're, going over the crappy day you may have had. You're waking up thinking, ugh, another day. We're reliving the same day over and over. So our thoughts, if our attitude is a composite of our thoughts, feelings, and our behavior or our actions, I want you to understand this. Our thoughts lead to how we feel. Think about that. You have a good thought, you feel good. When you feel good, that leads to our actions and behavior. Our behavior and actions lead to our results. It's the same process over and over. If you get anything out of this particular training or any of my trainings, understand this. Our thoughts lead to our feelings lead to our actions or the way we behave, and our actions lead to our results, right? So there's universal laws, and one of the great laws is the law of cause and effect. So our thoughts, feelings, and actions are the cause. Okay, the way we behave, the way we think, feel, and behave, we are the cause. Our results are the effect. Again, this is what Emerson called the greatest law, is the law of cause and effect. Think about it when you're around someone that has a great attitude. Think about that. Is there someone that comes to mind? Think about someone that that maybe you know, or maybe you've met along the way that has a lousy attitude. When you think of these people, it's their attitude that comes to mind. So there's not a lot of people with a really great attitude. And if they do have one, when you think of them, it makes you feel good. When you feel good, you smile. And you probably think to yourself, geez, I really like them. They have such a great outlook on life. When you think about somebody that has a lousy attitude, what are you thinking about that person? How do you feel inside, right? You see the difference just when you're just imagining this? Ugh, right? Ugh. You probably, ugh. You grimace and you think, ugh, here comes Mr. whatever, doom and gloom. And you really want to duck that person. You don't want to be around them. It's so powerful. So the quality of our clients, our prospects, relationships, our health, etc., can be based on the attitude that we have and how we make others feel when they think of us. We've heard the expression, someone may not remember your name, they may not remember what you've said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. So how do we know what our attitude looks like? Look at our results in different areas of our life. Results are simply feedback. So try not to take them so personally. Try not to have them define you. It's simply saying, this is what you thought about yesterday, and this is the result, or this is how you've been thinking, and these are your results. It's just feedback. It doesn't mean it has to always be that way. because we get to create the reality our reality by choosing how we think, feel, and behave. We attract to us who we are, not what we want. That's really important. Think about that. We attract to us who we are, not what we want. I'm sure you've all heard about the law of attraction, and that's a universal law, but it's not a primary law. A primary law is the law of vibration. This is the energy that you are giving off. Look around you. Take a really good look around you. Look at your business. Look at the type of clients you attract. Look at your relationship. Look at your finances. Look at your health, etc. These are all feedback of our attitude of mind. And again, that's the composite. It's how we're thinking, feeling, and behaving. Okay. So if you desire a successful personal and professional life, always look for the good. But this takes discipline. Yes, it takes discipline. You want freedom, you must be disciplined. Leave others with the impression of increase. Leave them with your great, memorable attitude. Others will want to be with you and do business with you. This is how we start to create success in our life. All right. And think about this. And I'm always so fascinated because every time I share this information, it just reminds me how little I knew about myself, how little I knew about the rules of life, the way that they were intended to be, not the rules of life that I was taught. Okay. The highest function that we are capable of is thinking. So if we don't control our thoughts, what can happen is we play the victim. We play the blame game. If everyone else around us in our life got their act together, our life would be awesome. Doesn't work that way. We think it does, but it's not how it works, right? Every time we make excuses or blame somebody, we are working from the weakest part of us. Think about that. Every time we make excuses, I can't do that because, right? I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't know enough. I don't have the money. It's not the right time. I got to wait till the kids get out of school. Blah, 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 blah. These are all excuses, and you are working from the weakest part of you. Every time we are accountable and disciplined, we are working from the strongest part of us. We are working from the highest version of ourselves. So here are some rules that I wrote down. I call them the rules of attitude. And I just want to share something with you. I was in Georgia a couple of weeks ago. We bought a house in Georgia, and the goal is for that to be our winter home. So I grew up in Medford, the North Shore, etc. Now we're living up in Maine, but we've had this cottage for 10 years, so I'm familiar with this. So I'm going to Georgia, my husband and I, going to live in a house that, we were one of those buyers, bought unseen, that whole bit, no home inspection, etc. And there was a heat wave. The older I get, the less of a fan I am with the heat. So between the heat, maybe a little bit of anxiety, what are we doing? Where are we? I don't know anybody. All of the stuff, right? All the external stuff. I could feel my attitude slipping, myself and my husband. So the combination was not so terrific, right? However, because I study every day, I knew attitude check, attitude check. I have to be disciplined in my thoughts. I do not want to think thoughts that are not going to serve me. So it does happen. And I study myself every day, but it does happen. The good news is I know I have the ability to change the way I think, to shift my attitude, to shift my thoughts and my mood. So let me get back to the rules of attitude. Number one, and this is the first lesson in my program, and you'll hear me talk about it over and over because it's so true. You have to have a goal, not just any goal, not just, oh, I want to increase my sales by 10% or, this, that, or the other thing. Have a big, audacious goal. There is nothing small about you. So stop playing small and think big. And I typically, because I work with real estate professionals, I typically use the example of a top producer. It may be your big, big goal. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something else. Maybe you're already a top producer. Maybe you want to be, not only number one in the company, maybe you want to be number one in the state, in the world, whatever. But remember, somebody already is. So there's no reason why you couldn't if that's your big, audacious goal. Only speak about what you want, not what you don't want. How many of us do this? We complain, we complain, we complain. And what we're doing was you're just giving our energy to what we don't want. It takes discipline not to go there. When I catch myself, and I'm getting better and better at it, whoop, I know, whoop, come back here. Because I know I'm talking from the weakest part of me. I'm talking from the weakest part of me. Whoop, go back here. Whoop. I have to think about my goal. I have to think from the goal already achieved. From my goal, whatever my big goal is, whatever your big goal, and again, I'll just use top producer, number one in the company. Is that if I'm a number one producer in the company, if I'm the top dog in the company, do I think like this? Do I use excuses? Do I speak about what I don't want? Hell no. Hell no. So I have to go to my imagination and think about my goal achieved. Again, if I want to be a top producer, I must think like a top producer as if I am already there. This is key. Not I want to be, I am that top producer because you must start thinking from that top producer energy, not from where you are now. Okay, so to think like a top producer, ask yourself questions, again, coming from the energy of the top producer. How would I be thinking? What would my next step be today? What action steps would I be doing? How do I dress? How do I walk? How do I speak? Who do I associate with? On and on, right? You must think, feel, and behave from that energy. You must step into the shoes of that top producer. This is why I don't care how many programs you have tried, how many coaches. Trust me, I've done a lot. I've done a lot of coaching, a lot of programs, a lot of seminars. And what I share with you, I can tell you, I've never learned until I started doing this program. That's why I'm so passionate about sharing it with you, because I understand the struggles that agents go through. And I understand, especially if you're a woman and if you're, if you have a family and you're in a relationship, you're balancing quite a bit. So I get it. Number two, focus on the present moment. Oh, this is good. This will ground you, but it takes concentration and discipline to stay in the moment. We've all heard that expression, stay in the moment, because what happens is when we go there, when we go into the future, thinking about tomorrow, etc., what happens? we start to get anxious. But if you realize right now, like we're here on this call, everything's good. I have everything I need right now. I start thinking about what I have to do later on, perhaps depending on what it is, I can start getting a little anxious. Go back to the now. Go back to the now. If you start going there, feeling anxious, come back to right now, to the present moment. I have everything I need right now, right here. I'm good. Okay. Number 3, focus on the plan that you can see for your goal. So again, the example of top producer. If you're not going to know all the hows, because if you knew the hows, you'd already be there. You probably may know the first couple of steps, if that, right? Focus on those first couple of steps. The others will come. So focus on step 1 and 2. Forget steps 3, 4, 5, on and on. Stay focused on the how that you know right now. You must do today's work before you can do tomorrow's work. Okay. Number 4, and this is a good one. Excuse me. Use your memory only to bring forward information from the past that can help you move forward. Did you hear what I said? Only use memories from the past that can help you move forward. Stay away from stories of the past that don't serve you anymore. What we start to do when we start talking about, oh, this happened to me, and this past can be 10 minutes ago. So if something happened to you 10 minutes ago, let it go. Unless it's going to serve you moving forward, don't bring it up. But this is what we tend to do. We tend to bring stories that happened, whether it was yesterday, a month ago, a year ago, decades ago. And we bring it up. And what happens? Oh, someone joins in. That happened to me too. Or, oh, let me tell you what happened to me. I can top that story. And the next thing, we're all commiserating. It gets us nowhere. That's not what a top producer is wasting their time on. They're thinking about their goal. This is why you must have a goal. Okay. Number 5, ask yourself, am I creating? What does that mean? It means, am I thinking from my goal already achieved, and coming up with creative ideas to pertain to that goal? Or perhaps it may be some other thing that's going on in your life that calls for creativity. You may be planning a trip, or you may be planning a party or something like that. Use your imagination. That's what it's for. It's the most miraculous gift that we have. It can take you there. There is a place. Remember that. There is a place that you can go to. You must go there first before you can bring the rest of you there. You must go to your imagination. Take you out of your daily ho-hum habits that have been getting you the same results day in and day out, which is fine. But if you want to bring out another version of you, if you want to become a higher version of you, you must, in your imagination, go there first. Okay. And number 6, of course, is gratitude. Gratitude. Every morning, start your day with gratitude. As soon as I wake up, I say thank you. I'm so grateful that I get to experience, I get to help someone else today. I get to just love. I get to see the beauty surrounding me. I get to see the abundance. I'm so grateful. I say thank you every morning when I wake up and when I go to bed. So start your day with gratitude. Write or think about what you're grateful for, what you have right now, and for what you desire as if you've already received it. So again, we'll use the top producer analogy. So we're grateful that in the morning, the fact that we woke up, that's a lot to be grateful for, right? There are thousands of people that did not wake up today. And this may sound cliche, but the fact that you're in a bed, there's a roof on your head, you got blankets, you can probably wake up and look in the refrigerator. And that's another thing when you sit down to eat breakfast or lunch or dinner, look at the food around you. Look at the food. I'm not talking about the junk food, but I'm talking about your fruits and vegetables and whatever, fish and poultry. It was all created to nourish you. It was all created for you. When you're sitting there at your table, look at the food. Look all around you. Look at the kitchen around you. Look at the things around your house. Everything in your house is there to serve you. It's there to serve you to make your life more convenient, more easier, or just something that brings you joy. Think about that. Look all around you. There is abundance everywhere. Okay. And so if your goal is to be a top producer and you want whatever, an extra 25 transactions, 100 transactions, whatever it may be a year, say thank you for it as if you've already received it. How would it feel having those extra 25 transactions, those extra 50, those extra 100, whatever that number would be? How does that feel? That's the vibration we need to be in. Ask yourself this: what would I decide and what action steps would I do today if I had double the confidence? That's a big one, right? At the end of the night, reflect on what was good about the day. Think about a win that you had. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe someone was kind to you. Maybe you got to, I don't know, you got to the laundry that you've been putting off or whatever. It doesn't have to be a big win, but we must acknowledge our wins. When you think about, if I asked you what went wrong today, you could probably go into a lot of detail, right? You're getting really emotional and the hands are going and you're pulling me into your story. But when I ask my clients, what was your win today? It's amazing. Um, and they'll think of something, they'll come up with an answer, but it's not as nearly detailed as if it was something crappy. It's really quite amazing how we do that. So go to sleep on a positive thought and feeling. That's key. And again, just like I mentioned earlier, when you wake up, you'll wake up with the positive feeling. So I think that's about it for today. Again, if you do desire a successful personal, professional life, always look for the good. There is the law of polarity. I talked about the law of cause and effect. You are the cause. I am the cause of my results. My results are an effect. So it's just feedback. There are universal laws. You must understand how your mind works and to be in harmony with universal laws. So always look for the good. If there's good in a situation, or if, I should say, if there's bad in a situation, there's also good. And actually, there really is neither good nor bad. It just is. It's how our thinking makes it so, right? Leave others with the impression of increase. Leave them with that great attitude. This is what they want to work with people that make them feel good. This is how you create success in your life, with your relationships, your health, and your business. And it's the key for a fulfilling, empowering, joyful life. All righty, let's see the time. Okay, it's 12:36. I thank you all for joining me. I see Facebook user, so I have no idea who's on there, but I think when I go on the Facebook group, I think I can see the comments. So I appreciate you all for being here and anyone watching the replay. Um, if you think that this would help somebody else, please share share the link. I'll be putting the replay on, I think, tomorrow. Share the replay or have them join the Facebook group. We'd love to have them there. Um, and my goal is I hope that this helped someone today. And with gratitude, as always, I thank you again for being here, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.